Kelly Ripa, the host of the show Live with Kelly and Mark, and her devoted husband, Mark Consuelos, reside in a magnificent estate. With three wonderful children who are now adults, she has the entire world at her disposal. Getting there, on the other hand, was not always very pleasant. Stay alive, Ripa Kelly, she has put in a lot of effort to support her lifestyle. Individuals often have the misconception that working in the entertainment sector is a piece of cake. There are crowds to wave at, autographs to sign, and restaurants to eat at that are among the best. On the other hand, things are not always of that nature. During the conversation with his former co-host on the morning talk show, Ryan Seacrest shared his thoughts on how a summer vacation brought to mind the long hours he works. It appears that Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos enjoy a healthy connection with one another. She does, however, pretend that they have a lot of disagreements, which brings her a lot of laughs on live. However, he was frequently absent from his home because of filming. On occasion, for a period of months at a time. While everything is going on, she has to get up quite early for her own job. Notably, she asserts that she is not someone who gets up early in the morning. It would appear that those high incomes were gained through the use of blood, sweat, and tears. On the other hand, it can also be highly brutal. Forms of amusement, having a career can be quite difficult. A conversation between the former All My Children star and Hillary Burton was featured on Kelly Ripa's podcast, titled Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa. On Wednesday, the two individuals had a conversation on the process of child rearing. While taking a trip down memory lane, the presenter of Live with Kelly and Mark disclosed something that was very personal to her. Michael was her first child, and he was born in 1997. He was her first child. Despite this, she was only given 9 days to recover from the birth of her child before she had to resume filming for All My Children. Live's Kelly Ripa admitted that she had experienced body shaming. According to Page 6, she was quoted as adding that it was not a pleasant moment for her. In the event that you watch the talk program on ABC, you will be aware that Mark's wife appears to be somewhat sensitive when it comes to comments concerning her body. As a result, she most likely experienced a dreadful feeling when she went back to filming for her role as Haley Vaughn. Everything appeared to be quite brutal. The wardrobe people have Kelly Ripa in a state of disbelief during the production. Mark's wife recalls how some of the team members were brutal. It is not always the case that being behind the scenes means being upbeat and cheerful. What transpired was relayed to Hillary Burton by her. "We thought you'd be smaller by now," says the person who works in the clothes department. "I was thinking to myself, well, I'm not going to be any smaller in the near future. Although I don't know much, I will let you know what I do know. It appears like this will be present for a considerable amount of time." Additionally, she shared with Nate, "I didn't recognize my body. I had to go back to work 9 days after giving birth, and I was working on a soap opera at the time." She continued by saying, "It was a terrible experience." To what extent do you agree or disagree with the statement that working in the entertainment industry can often sound more like a nightmare than a luxurious lifestyle? What are your thoughts on the fact that Kelly Ripa must have been going through a really difficult time? Please let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to check back here for further information regarding the host of Live with Kelly and Mark. In the bright world of daytime television, the backdrop is often painted with flawless smiles, glamorous sets, and effortless charisma. But behind the curtain, beyond the polished screens and the warm greetings to millions of viewers, lies an ecosystem where pressure moves silently and judgment can appear in the most unexpected places. Kelly Ripa, the beloved co-host of Live, has always embodied energy, humor, and a sense of relatability that keeps her audience loyal. Yet even someone at the top of her game has walked through moments that cut deeper than she ever allowed the public to see. Her confession about being brutally shamed by wardrobe staff did not surface as an explosive revelation, but rather as a quietly shared truth. one that exposed a layer of vulnerability beneath her confident persona. It became a window into the uncomfortable side of an industry obsessed with appearances, where even the smallest details of a host's outfit are scrutinized with ruthless precision. The moment she finally spoke about it carried the weight of years of silent endurance. The story traces back to a time when wardrobe consultations were less about collaboration and more about control. In the world of television, wardrobe teams hold a unique form of power. They are the architects of visual presentation, and their choices shape how the audience perceives the stars they dress. But when that influence turns into criticism, it leaves emotional marks that linger. Kelly walked into that particular fitting expecting the usual process, selecting colors that worked for the camera, adjusting fabrics to complement the lighting, and choosing silhouettes that matched the tone of the show. Instead, she found herself under a microscope. Every fold of fabric, every curve of her body, every shade of fabric draped over her frame suddenly felt like an invitation for scrutiny. The room, lit brightly for the sake of accuracy, felt colder than normal. The shame did not come from loud arguments or harsh commands. It revealed itself in the smallest, most stinging gestures: a raised eyebrow, a silent glance exchanged between stylists, a dismissive tilt of the head as if her body itself was the problem. The subtlety made it more painful. The wardrobe professional spoke with the kind of coded language common behind the scenes, using terms about fit, camera friendliness, and proportion that felt less like suggestions and more like nonverbal critiques directed at her. Their tone carved a message that her body, one that had endured motherhood, work pressures, and the demands of fame, simply wasn't good enough. The worst part was not the comments themselves, but the impact they carried. Kelly, who had spent years trying to maintain an image of confidence and approachability, felt herself shrinking emotionally. The fitting room suddenly became a place of judgment rather than creativity. It was no longer about clothing. It was about her sense of worth. The shaming she experienced wasn't a one-time event. It was an accumulation of moments that piled up quietly until they became impossible to ignore. Unlike many celebrities who fire back immediately or walk out in protest, Kelly responded with professionalism. She smiled. She complied. She stood still as measurements were taken and garments were pinned. She pretended not to hear the whispers or feel the sting of their glances. But inside, a knot tightened. Each fitting that followed carried a residue of that early humiliation, shaping her relationship with her wardrobe and altering the way she viewed herself on screen. Over time, these experiences seeped into her daily life. Standing in front of mirrors became less about picking a look and more about critiquing flaws. Walking onto the set meant wondering whether she had met the unspoken expectations of the stylists who dressed her. The camera, which once felt like an old friend, became a silent judge capturing every angle that had been criticized in the fitting room. Fame, success, and popularity could not shield her from the sharp edge of insecurity. Yet Kelly is not someone who breaks quietly. Beneath her warmth is a resilient core shaped by decades in the public eye. Instead of letting that experience define her, she used it to understand the harsh realities that many women, famous or not, face daily. Her story isn't just about being shamed. It's about the universal battle with body image, the struggle against unrealistic standards, and the courage to speak out even when the world expects silence. Sharing her experience became an act of empowerment rather than complaint. She opened the door to conversations about the pressures within the entertainment industry, pressures that rarely make headlines but deeply affect those who live through them. The moment she revealed her truth, something shifted. Fans who had known her only as a bubbly TV personality finally saw the human beneath the studio lights. Fellow celebrities quietly resonated with her story, recognizing a familiar sting from their own pasts. The wardrobe conversation wasn't just about clothes anymore. It became a symbol of how the industry often shapes women's self-esteem. Kelly's bravery in acknowledging what had happened was a reminder that even people who seem endlessly confident fight internal battles. She proved that vulnerability does not weaken a public figure. It strengthens their connection with those who admire them. Her openness encouraged others to question outdated beauty expectations in entertainment. Viewers who once admired her for her energy now respected her for her honesty. In the aftermath of her confession, she carried herself differently. She began embracing outfits that reflected her personality rather than trying to satisfy unseen critics. She leaned into her own sense of style, experimenting with bold colors, unexpected fabrics, and silhouettes that made her feel good instead of camera perfect. The experience had carved a memory, but it also sparked a transformation. Kelly's journey stands as a testament to resilience. She showed that even in an environment built on perfection, authenticity still holds power. Her story reaches far beyond the wardrobe room. It is a reminder that confidence is not a constant state but a decision made every day to rise above judgment, to reclaim self-worth, and to stand tall even when the world tries to shrink you. And so, the woman who greets millions every morning with a bright smile now carries something deeper behind that expression. A sense of strength shaped not by admiration, but by overcoming quiet cruelty. Kelly Ripa turned shame into a story of empowerment, proving once again that the brightest personalities often glow strongest after surviving the shadows cast by others.